We just got a lot of offers for Guild Wars 2, not only in skins, but also in actual content as DLCs, and the expansions are up to 75% off. And in this video, I want to talk to you about what you should be buying, what this expansions and DLC contains, and what should be your priority as a player, depending on the type of player you are. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Go to my Ko-Fi if you want to support my content. Go to my Twitch to watch me live. And let's get into it. Guild Wars 2 has a lot of content. You can see here the main story, which is for free, and you can go get it yourself instantly and try the game out. Living World Season 1, Season 2, Heart of Thorns, Season 3, Path of Fire, Season 4, Ice of Saga, End of Dragons, Secret of the Obscure, and Janthir Wilds. It's a lot in here. And everything right now is, well, on a huge discount. Here you have everything that you can buy. All the Living World seasons, all the DLCs, all of the expansions, the mini seasons in between expansions are also at a 30% discount. So everything in the game is completely, it's the best time to actually go and get it. But what you get, we're gonna go through all the types of content that we have, Living World seasons versus expansions, and depending on what you are as a player, what you want, PvE, PvP, big scale PvP story, what you should be prioritizing as well. So first of all, let's talk about the differences between expansions and between Living World seasons. First of all, I would heavily recommend to go through the links I'm going to leave in the description, as they will tell you everything each of the expansions, Living World seasons, everything has. I'll leave it all here. It's very, very useful. And also, I want to say that depending on where you're actually purchasing this, the things will actually change. If you know, Guild Wars 2 is on Steam, it's on Epic Game Store, and it's on, well, their own launcher. If you want to buy things for your own launcher, you'll have to buy it through, well, your own launcher. You cannot buy it through Steam, you cannot buy it through Epic Games. If you want to get it through Epic Games, you're going to have to use the discounts that Epic Games has. If you want to buy it through Steam, you will have to go through that as well. Gem Store codes will only work through Epic Game Store and through the normal Arena account. It will not work through actual Steam. Even though the Living World seasons can actually bought with real life money through Steam, through Epic Game Store, through the actual client and the website, you can buy it with gem stores as well. So you can actually skip that and buy it through the actual game with gold instead of real life money. Also, Steam has as well a discount specifically for Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire for the same amount of money that you would get it from the actual website as well right now. And who knows, sometimes Steam has discounts that Arena doesn't have, that Epic Game Store doesn't have, and sometimes the same happens for the other platforms. So you're gonna have to go in there and check. But right now, there essentially seem to be, at least in Steam and indeed the actual game store inside of inside of guildwars.com as well. Regardless, let's start the entire thing. Expansions. Expansions are the big thing where you actually get a lot of content. Living World seasons do have a lot of them, but some of them have some more than others, right? The biggest things about the expansions is that they give you elite specializations, which are essentially specializations of your normal classes that, you know, instead of a guardian, you become a dragon hunter. Instead of a warrior, you become a berserker. They're like ascended versions of themselves with new abilities and new weapons as well. Heart of Thorns is like this, Path of Fire is like this, and End of the Dragons is like this. The expansions after this, like Secrets of the Obscure and Janthir Wilds, are not like this. They will not give you elite specializations. They will only give you weapons instead, which are still pretty fun, and they kind of work a little bit like elite specializations, but they're not the same. So it's important for you guys to know the difference. Every expansion and Living World season will both come with new maps, with new story, with new masteries, which are essentially things that you can use in the open world, like bouncing mushrooms, like gliding, stuff like this. But obviously each one has different things. Let's go first for each of the expansions. First of all, talk about Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire. And why am I talking about these two of them together? Because they come in a bundle. If you buy Path of Fire, you get Heart of Thorns, and if you buy Heart of Thorns, you get Path of Fire, which is a very good value because both of these expansions give you elite specializations, and it's only $7 right now. $7.45. That's an insane amount of value for just, man, less than actually going to a restaurant for one day. This is probably, honestly, for everyone, not for any type of player that you actually are, this will be worth your money. If you're into the story, if you're into the PP, into War vs. World, large scale PP, PvE, competitive raids, anything, this will be worth it. So I just want to put that out there because it really is just so good. For this, you'll be getting 2 sets of elite specializations in a new class, the Revenant. You'll get 2 elite specializations for each class and 2 sets of weapons that are new for each class as well. You can go check the specific ones right here if you want. You'll also be getting multiple mounts. You'll get the Raptor, the Rabbit, the Skimmer, the Jackal, the Griffin, and also the Warclaw. That got updated in Janthir Wilds expansion, even if you actually don't own the expansion, and now it's honestly faster than the Raptor, for example. Very important, you will not be getting the Sky Skull, which is a dragon that we have. And the Warclaw will not have all the masteries that make it into a huge, essentially almost like as good as the Sky Skull, which is essentially just flies around. That's how good it is with Janthir Wilds expansion. With these expansions as well, you will get 4 raids from Heart of Thorns, 3 raids from Path of Fire, 7 strike missions, which is essentially single boss encounters, gliding, 3 guild halls, legendary weapons, every generation 2, and these ones are honestly the most, I don't know, in my opinion, they're the best they've ever done, so I heavily recommend, you know, getting them, even if it takes you a while. So it's definitely, you're gonna get a lot of beautiful value because of this. Legendary armor and a legendary ring as well. You'll be getting multiple masteries for your mounts and bouncing mushrooms and gliding as well. The next expansion is going to be End of Dragons, which is the last expansion that you actually get elite specializations with. You'll be getting set of elite specializations as well. If you buy only this, you will also get Revenant, even if it actually comes with Heart of Thorns originally. You'll be getting the Rabbit and the Raptor. And of course, also you'll be getting the Siege Turtle. That being said, you will not be getting the Warclaw, which is a big deal because the Warclaw is very useful and you use it in War vs. World. So buying EOD, it's gonna be, you mainly buy it for the story and of course the elite specializations. Well, and fishing if you really care about that. And little skiffs as well, I guess. There are little boats that you can get. And 4 strike missions with one of the hardest ones that we have in the game. We also get legendary weapons, Generation 3, which are an insanely good way of making gold if you're interested into buying the rest of Living World Seasons with actual gold instead of real life money. Crafting legendary weapons, Gen 3s, is very easy, and you can sell them for a lot of gold and use this to actually build your account very easily. And they also look pretty good and they're very significant for people if you actually go and upgrade them to the maximum. You also get 1 specific guild hall, which is kind of nice, but if you want it, you can go get it. It's not really a big deal. You can get other ones as well. Yeah, it's a pretty nice one. I think a lot of people really like it. It might be the favorite one for most people, actually. Then we start going into the expansions. Secrecy Obscure and Janthir Wilds. This one no longer have elite specializations. Instead, they have weapons that you give to each of the specs. Secrecy Obscure gives us 1 weapon for each class, and they also give us weapon training and expanded weapon proficiency, which makes it so all the elite specialization specific weapons can be used in any other class in the game. This is very useful specifically for War vs. World and PvP, as maybe it's not needed, but some of the very big meta builds do require this to be, you know, very useful. If you're playing War vs. World and you want to try hard, you probably will require this. You will also be getting the Raptor, and you'll be able to get the Sky Skull, which is actually the dragon we have in Guild Wars 2. The way that we fly up and can hover through everything. It'll be super easy to be gotten. The other way of getting it is through Living World Season 4, but that way is kind of hard and kind of long. This is way easier, way faster. And also ideally you want both anyways to get the masteries to the maximum extent. You also get 2 strike missions. One, definitely the hardest we've ever had, is right here with the hard mode, Sarah's Legendary CM. And well, the other one is just kind of fine, and it's not really that fun, but it's there. There you go. Rift hunting, which essentially just go around the map doing random events and that repeat each other every time with difference in bosses. It's more about exploration and grinding if you like that. Most people don't, but it is what it is. We also get the Convergence in Secrecy Obscure with 5 bosses. and hard mode for each of them, and the legendary armor, which honestly I think you know, look, that is one that I really personally like. So if you want to get that, and you can get upgraded to the suffused version that glows with different colors, is pretty cool too if you're into that. Janthir Wilds, the latest expansion, gives us spears for every profession. The spears are probably the best weapons ever designed in the game. I really like them. They're very awesome. They're essentially almost elite specializations in one weapon. I think they did a good job at this. Maybe not perfect, but a very good job nonetheless. We also have housing. We have a new raid that will have a legendary and hard mode as well. We'll have more rift hunting, one more convergence with multiple bosses as well, and hard modes for this. We're getting relics. We're getting exclusive relics from this actual expansion as well, which are indeed these things that you can put into your gear to get new effects. Legendary spear, legendary backpack, and also we get the raptor, rabbit, and the war claw. But this time the war claw will be completely and upgraded, which almost makes it like a flying mount. You can see it in this video in particular, that PC article actually came in and did, where they are using the Warclaw to essentially fly over and over again. This is how good this is. It's a very fast mount. It's kind of a jack of all trades right now. Ideal for me, almost better than the actual Sky Skill, but Sky Skill is a bit better to climb up over things because it can climb up into the surfaces, into the vertical surfaces. So hey, whatever you like the most, you can make your own decision. And that's all the expansions. Now, before we go into the rest, into actual tier list of what you should be going for, let's talk about the Living World Seasons. Living World Season 1, don't worry about it. You get it for free. Not really relevant. Living World Season 2, essentially just for story. If you're interested in the story, you should be going for this because, you know, you're going to want to know what happens between Living World Season 1 and Heart of Thorns. And also, by acquiring all the Living World Seasons, you'll be getting a legendary amulet by playing all of them. So this is very important, but this applies to every one of them. And by playing them also, you'll be getting a lot of rewards the first time you play them, which is definitely a lot worth it in terms of in-game gold. Living World Season 3 story as well. Mainly you get a few maps as well, which are kind of cool. You actually get 6. They're not really relevant in the game as much, mainly for just a very specific types of collections and stuff like this, but they're not something that are played a lot. So that is definitely something to consider. You also get a new down skill, the number 5. If you actually go for the mastery and get all the masteries, you get some other abilities as well while you're going downstate, and some gliding abilities as well. And you also get a legendary accessory, Aurora, which is kind of little balls that you end up getting, which is kind of, you know, look, it looks kind of cool, I guess. Well, you can change, and legendaries are pretty cool in this game because they let you change the stats whenever you want, which is very useful. Applies to the weapons and armors as well. I probably should have said that beforehand. Living World Season 4, you will get bounties just like we did in before, which are essentially kind of similar to rifts, just like you do in Pve Fire. And you also get more mount skills, like the Bond of Vigor to get more endurance, and one button that you can use to shoot out off of your mount to get somewhere else and, well, exit your mount. You will also get another legendary accessory, just like Aurora Vision, that you can forge in with your Aurora to get even bigger balls with different colors, which is kind of a cool little thing. Also, you will be getting the Roller Beetle, which is essentially a drifter. You go super fast and you just hard to control but super fast, and your Sky Skill that also you can get from Secretly Obscure, as we talked about before. But if you get the Living World Season 4 one and the Secretly Obscure one, you will upgrade it to the maximum. The Icewood Saga, you end up getting Dragon Response missions, which are kind of boring. They're not the best. They're like mini dungeons. Not that interesting. United Legion's Way Station, which are very important for open world because you use them to see things. But honestly, with the Warclaw, they're way less important than back in the day. You get 3 maps, which honestly are one of the best maps in the game, I think. So definitely the war bosses you have there are absolutely great. And well, that's about it. And there you go. Reminder, all the maps we are getting here in the expansions and Living World Seasons are huge with exploration, with collections, and also with huge war bosses that you have to tackle with 50 plus people. So definitely recommend that in that regard. Now let's move to the next thing. Let's make a little bit of a tier list in terms of what you should be prioritizing. The first thing we're going to go through here is we're going to go through the amount of content you get from each of these expansions. Not every one of them have the most amount. This is going to be very non-subjective. This is going to be just the amount of content you get. It's going to be mainly considering the amount of money you spend for the amount of value you get. If I go into the value, I'm recording this when we're actually having a lot of discounts. If you don't, this has passed and there's no longer discounts, go check the actual prices. It's still going to be worth the entire thing that I'm talking about. I don't think it changes my tier list and my priority at all, but in terms of price it might change. Path of Fire now it's 7.50. It would usually be at 30, and the Dragons is at $15. Now it would be at 30. Before it would be at 30. Secret of the Obscure would be $25, and now it's at 20, and Janthir Wilds is at 25 as well. The Elder Dragon Saga collection of Path of Fire, Heart of Thorns, and EOD would be $50 instead of 20 that we have right now, and the full package of everything Living World Season 4, Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, and End of Dragons would be $100 instead of $50 that we have right now. So for the first one, S tier, the maximum most one that is completely just worth getting, $7 for Heart of Thorns and Path of Fire. What an absolute deal. This is absolutely insane. There's no reason not to go for it. But that's what it is. It's just absolutely great, and there's nothing else to be said about it. The value here is great. It's just so little money for so much content. Double elite specializations, 7 raids, like, oh my god. And there's so much more mounts. There's so much in this in buying these two things for $7 that is incredible. Okay, it's just so much worth it. Next one would be EOD and Janthir Wilds. I actually compare them very similarly. This one, you know, End of Dragons has elite specializations and 4 strikes, but this one has spears, which are very, very good, and also the new raid, as well as the convergence. So the amount of value in them are very, very similar. The Warclaw, I think, is way more interesting in Janthir Wilds, and Guild Wars 2 and the Dragons has the Skiff, but it's really not that interesting, and the Turtles, that is not really that interesting. Honestly, they're very comparable. Probably EOD is a bit bigger, specifically because Janthir Wilds content will be coming out through the year, so you can get everything that Janthir Wilds would get at the end, essentially instantly. So I would definitely put EOD on A right now, and Janthir Wilds is just a little bit behind it. For the last expansion, I would put Secret of the Obscure in B. Yeah, you get the weapon proficiency to use all the elite specialization weapons in everywhere you want. Yes, you get story. Yes, you get maps that honestly are not that much fun. Yes, you get 2 strikes, but it's just not enough for me. The content is not as good. I don't think it's really worth that much. The only reason why you buy this, in my opinion, is to get the sky skill very, very fast, to get a reset from the story, so you don't have to do everything else before it, and you just want to start going into what's new. Or if you really are competitive about the game in PvE, PvP, and War vs. World, and you want to play a very specific build that requires all the weapons that this expansion requires, or the weapon proficiency to work. Now for the Living World Seasons, I would put Icewood Saga on A. I think the content that it gives you is actually very, very, very good. Same thing I would go for Living World Season 4, but Living World Season 4, I'll put it a bit to the left here. I think the amount of metas that they have are more, and they're more interesting. I think Living World Season, the story is also way better than the Icewood Saga one, even though the Icewood Saga one was going very well, and then it went down. I think both are very, very good, and I think they deserve to be on A. I think they honestly deserve to be over Secret of the Obscure, specifically because you can buy this with actual gold instead of just real life money. And Secret of the Obscure, I don't know. I don't see it as much as that important. The only reason why this would be lower, than Secret of the Obscure, is if you really care about one specific weapon, or the weapon proficiency in Secret of the Obscure, or the Sky Skill. But the Sky Skill is in Living World Season 4 too. So, as I said before, if you don't, go check the builds that you actually want to play. If you don't want to play one that is affected by not having Secrets of the Obscure, I don't think it's really that relevant. Living World Season 2, I think this one honestly is just not really worth it. I mean, if you want the story, good, but otherwise not really. It's just story, and the story is not even that good. Living World Season 3, Although I will say, if you want to get the amulet, the legendary amulet of Arene, by doing all these expansions, all the content in this Living World seasons, yeah, it might actually be worth it for you. Living World Season 3, at least it has maps. Compared to Living World Season 2, it's the same thing. It also has more. It also has masteries that are kind of interesting, and yeah, I mean that's kind of it, honestly. And you have Aurora, so it does give you a good amount of content. I would almost put it. You know, I'm just gonna put it on B, close to Secrecy Obscure, because it does give you a good amount of content. It's not the content that is played right now, but it's definitely worth playing at least once. And for the last one, this is actually a very specific package you can get, which is the Decade expansion package from the Guild Wars 2 website. You can see here Elder Dragon Saga collections. You will go to learn more, and you go here to the complete edition. It'll be $50. It will give you every expansion, EOD, well, before Secrets of the Obscure, so EOD, Path of Fire, Heart of Thorns, and all the Living World seasons for $50. This is probably one of the best value for your buck a set version of it, something thing that you can purchase, and I would definitely put it on an S tier. I would put lower on this because it's definitely more expensive, but getting just everything in one package, I think it's just worth it. And you can just play from the game, from the start of the game, core to everything here, and you'll have a great story to enjoy, an insane amount of content, honestly over a year of content that you can actually go and enjoy. You don't have to, you can just skip to Secret of the Obscure and continue then, but if you do want it, man, what an absolutely great deal. So heavily recommended. I will say though, I really don't like the fact that ArenaNet said here, oh well, in the bottom, I just want to put it out there because I don't think it's good. You go here and it says, get the best deal on the first 3 Guild Wars 2 expansions, as well as additional rewards and content. And putting Living World, the picture right here, kind of implying that if you buy this for $20, you actually get everything, when you actually, in order to get everything, you have to go through the complete edition, which is $50. I think it's a bit weird, and I don't think they should be doing that. So I'm not really gonna be happy about that. Also, by the way, on this package you get 2 shared inventory slots and 2 max loot boosts as well for your classes. You can go check the actual things you actually get in this regard, like the in-game goodies, but I want to mainly talk about the actual content instead. Now let's go for the next one. Let's talk about the type of players you could be. Now I'm gonna divide this into 3 types of player: story players, PvE, open world / raid players, even competitive ones, because they actually don't change that much in terms of the decisions you would actually make on what to buy. And 3 PvP / open world PP players. If there's anyone that I'm actually missing and you want to talk to me and ask me what you should be doing depending on your situation, please tell me down in the comments down below, or message me on Discord. Dance with us. I don't have any problems answering any questions. Now, first, story players. For story, honestly, it's very simple. You go from the actual start till the end. There's 2 ways of doing this. You can actually start from Secrecy of the Obscure and then just go into Janthir Wilds and skip everything here. But considering you're a actual new player that actually cares about the story, you probably don't want this. You will not have any issues starting with Secrecy of the Obscure, even if you don't know the things beforehand. No problems, but there's gonna be a few things that you'll be like, oh, who's this character? Oh, what happened there? And you're not gonna know, which honestly, in my opinion, is a problem that ArenaNet should not have had. But hey, it is what it is. Now, if you want the complete order, what you would actually end up going for is exactly how you have it in the wiki: Guild Wars 2 Core, Living World Season 1, which is free, then getting Living World Season 2, then Heart of Thorns, then Living World Season 3, Path of Fire, Living World Season 4, Azure Saga, End of Dragons, Secrecy of the Obscure, and Janthir Wilds. If you're going through this way, I would heavily recommend you to go and buy the entirety of the Decade Saga, the complete end of Elder Dragon Saga collection. $50 right now for discount, $100 normally. This will take you an insane amount of time to actually play through. It'll be super fun, super interesting. It's just worth doing, and it's just one package. You get the entire Dragon Saga story, and you're done. And if you don't, just get Secrecy Obscure. If you like it, go into the rest. Go into Janthir Wilds, and then if you want more, you can go and get the Elden Dragon Saga collection afterwards. Now, for PvE players, raid players, all this kind of stuff. For this, it's actually pretty straightforward as well. You should always buy the package Path of Fire and Heart of Thorns first. 100%. It has double elite specializations. It's super cheap. You get so many maps, so much content, mounts for open world exploration, 7 raids. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot of content. There's no reason to not start with that. Next one, it would probably be, in my opinion, End of Dragons and Janthir Wilds, both being more or less the same amount. Raid here, very good raid, honestly. It just released, but it's absolutely great. And End of Dragons having 4 strikes, one with the hardest, one of the hardest difficulty encounters in the entire game. This one gives you elite specializations. This one gives you spears that are actually very fun. So both of them very much worth getting. Secretly Obscure, again, I would put it actually here now in A for a PvE standpoint, because you do get, maybe you don't get the best open world. Actually, no, let's get it in B again, because like the open world is just not that fun. The Obsidian Legendary Armor looks great. You have Legendary CM, which is one of the hardest fights I've ever done in my life, even as a Mythic WoW player. And you do get, you know, new weapons and the chance to create new builds with the sharing of elite specialization weapons in any specialization you want. But, you know, hey, the open world is not that good. It's just not that much content compared to the other ones, and it's not that good of an expansion, really. It probably is the worst expansion made. In my opinion, Path of Fire is not as good either, but hey, what can I say? At least they have elite specializations and mounts, so no. Next, for the Living World seasons, this will be more about open world, as you will not get any raids or anything like this from this. So consider that. If you don't care about open world, this is not really gonna be that important. Living World Season 4 and Iceberg Saga open world is absolutely great. I really like it. I think everybody really likes it. And, you know, you get mounts as well from Living World Season 4. The Sky Skull, the Roller Beetle. For Iceberg Saga, you get these strikes, which, you know, as I said before, you know, it's more about open world. You do get strikes here, but they're very easy. Just one thing that you would do daily because it's just so free. But they're kind of fun regardless. Living Season 3 and Living Season 2, not that interesting at all. Probably on D tier for a PvE player if you're not interested in story. Probably Living Season 3, I'll put it on C instead, because at least it does have cool maps. Living Season 2 doesn't really have that. And there you go. That's probably what I would consider as a PvE player. Now, for the PvP War vs. World player. Now, this is going to be very interesting. And this is the first time you're actually going to see Secretly Obscure being a bit high. Because for War vs. World and PvP player, I'm going to put it on A. Because on A, Secretly Obscure, you do kind of want that specific, you know, those weapons. You want them. They're very important in certain specs. Rifle on Mesmer. On a warrior, there's so many of this, and being able to use, for example, your greatsword on something like Scourge for War vs. World is super good, and there's many examples of this. Scrapper with shortbow, for example. So it's gonna be very important if you really want to get to the top echelon of War vs. World or PvP to get Secrets of the Obscure. But at the end of the day, it's not going to be as important as getting HOT and Path of Fire, because guess what? HOT and Path of Fire have those elite specializations that you're going to need to pair up with this to actually make it work. So if you don't have these ones, you're not even going to make this work. So this is going to be, as always, the best thing to actually get. I mean, Scrapper, Druid, Firebrand. Well, Firebrand, I guess not that much. Oh no, in War vs. World for sure. Scourge. There's so many cool, important, just so important for PvP and War vs. World specs that you have here that you just cannot not have it. End of Dragons. This will be on a B, because even though they do have a few things that are actually very important for PvP and War vs. World, they're not that many. Willbender, Virtuoso. These are very good, very meta picks right now. But one, that could change. And second of all, those are mainly the two. Sure, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe Catalyst in PvP, kind of. But that's about it. Not really something you really need. It's kind of nice if you really like those specs. But other than that, not so much. Also, by the way, I forgot about this. Path of Fire, Heart of Thorns, they have the War Claw. So if you don't have that, oof, you're gonna be in trouble. Janthir Wilds, probably, oof, that's a hard one. I'm actually not sure yet. I think Janthir Wilds is B as well. Essentially is, do you need the spear in your spec? If you do, you need to get Janthir Wilds, because otherwise you're not going to be able to play that spec as much. Spears can be very good, but sometimes they can be very bad. Spear in something like Willbender, oh my god, very, very, very important. You can play with Greatsword, but it's very, very good. So it's just going to be something you're going to have to go check, and the build that you actually want to play with the class you actually want to play, and whether it requires Janthir Wilds or not. Everything else, just D. Not useful, not necessary, not at all. You don't get any weapons, you don't get any classes, you don't get any elite specializations. Not important, not important, not important. Irrelevant. Don't get them if you care about PP and Wolverswald. You only need the expansions. There you go. That's about it. Tell me if this helped you. Tell me if I got anything wrong, and I'll have to re-upload this, because I did this already, because I didn't know that the whole Living World Season plus expansion things was 50 bucks instead of 20, because Ain't trolled me. But you never know. Maybe I forgot something else. Regardless, that is it. I hope that it helped you. You can always ask me if there's anything you need, any questions you guys need, and of course, content. Go and use the link in the description to actually buy the expansions if you're gonna end up buying them. They don't actually go to me because I'm not a partner, but I give it to Snap, which is a very good friend of mine. Might as well go get them some money. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Go to my Twitch to watch me live. Go to my Discord to check all the events we do in Guild Wars 2, and see you guys around. Love you all. Bye bye.